We feeling a little bit better today? The Philadelphia Phillies got back on track with a 6-2 win against the Washington Nationals Friday night in Washington. The series is now tied 1-1 heading into Saturday's action. It's a 4-game series, so there's another game Sunday. Aaron Nola is making that start in his return to the Phillies starting rotation, a morning game, so be ready for that. So 2 more games to go in the series. Hopefully the Phillies come away with a win today on Saturday, and then wrap it up with a series finale victory to win another series Sunday with Aaron Nola on the mound. Welcome into Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Henderly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. As I said, Phillies are back on track, back in the win column. They did have a 4-game win streak, including a sweep of the Texas Rangers down there in Texas. Won that first game of the Cincinnati Reds series in Cincinnati. Then the offense fell flat. Lost those last 2 games of the Reds series. Their first series loss going back since the Chicago White Sox series loss a little bit ago. They were on a 3-game losing streak after that 4-game winning streak. Everybody was starting to freak out because the offense was cold. The pitching wasn't looking great. They lost that series opener to the Nationals. The Nationals are not a good team. They lost 3-2. But they came back, got this 6-2 win Friday night, looked a lot better. And how about that adrenaline rush there in the 7th inning for the Phillies? Kyle Schwarber came up huge. And what do you expect other than what he did with that 3-run Schwarber bomb in the 7th inning? The Phillies were tied 2-2 there with the Nationals. Schwarber made it 5-2 with that absolute missile of a home run. Schwarber bomb hit, that was his 43rd home run of 2025. An MLB leading 101 RBI. So Kyle Schwarber is having an incredible season. MVP candidate in the National League. And then not only did Kyle Schwarber hit that go-ahead 3-run bomb there in the 7th inning, but Bryce Harper, the face of the Philadelphia Phillies, came up next, and he hit a home run of his own straightaway center field. Back-to-back home runs with Schwarber. That was obviously a solo home run, and the Phillies had the lead 6-2. Bryce Harper's 19th home run of 2025, one more away from 20, with a lot more games to go here. And the Phillies ultimately won that ball game thanks to their big stars coming up huge late in the game in the 7th inning to give their team a lead and a much-needed victory to get back into the win column. Now, Zack Wheeler, he was on the mound yesterday. We all know, if you've been watching the Phillies as of late, Zack Wheeler has not had his best stuff since the All-Star break, really going back to his start right before the All-Star break as well. Just very uncommon, very uncharacteristic for a guy like Zack Wheeler, who's an ace, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. Just hasn't had the best command lately. His velocity hasn't been there as much as it usually is. Looked a little bit better on Friday. The command was still a little bit of an issue for Zack Wheeler, but hopefully he's getting back on track. And maybe yesterday's win and yesterday's start for Zack Wheeler on Friday night was a step in the right direction for him to get back to his dominant self. He went 5 innings, allowed just 4 hits. However, he did walk 2 batters, so that, as I said, command is still not there fully for Zack Wheeler. Only the 2 earned runs, which also isn't bad at all. If you have 2, even 3 earned runs or less in a start, that's really all you can ask for by a starting pitcher at the Major League level. 6 strikeouts in those 5 innings. As I said, still a little bit command issues with those 2 walks. He also allowed a solo home run in the 4th inning to the Nationals, so that plays a factor into your command as well. Not really locating your pitches well, giving the batter a good pitch to hit. So, as I said, only 2 earned runs, only 4 hits in those 5 innings, still 6 strikeouts. So Zack Wheeler did look a little bit better, and hopefully that is what he needed to get back on track and back to the Zack Wheeler. We all know the Cy Young candidate, Zack Wheeler, that we are accustomed to seeing. Everybody held their breath there at the end of the ballgame for the Phillies for a moment there. Joan Duran, the lights-out closer they acquired from the Minnesota Twins at the trade deadline, he came in that 9th inning with that 6-2 lead over the Nationals, trying to shut the door and just secure that victory to even up the series 1-1. Unfortunately for the Phillies and Duran, he took a comebacker ground ball right off his foot/ankle area, and he left the game in pain. He was even carted off the field in the little Nationals helmet little cart thing. Kind of funny, just that they still use that. But nonetheless, Duran exited the game. After that, it was the first batter of the inning, so didn't stay in there long. David Robertson came in, ended up closing the door for the Phillies and getting that victory, that 6-2 victory. And as I said, everybody's holding their breath for that Duran news. X-rays did initially come back negative on that foot/ankle. He's going to be getting more tests today, reportedly. So we'll see if anything changes there. But initially, X-rays negative, which is great for the Phillies and Duran because they can't afford to lose him in the back end. They can't afford to lose their dominant closer, especially at this point of the season. They just traded for him. We're in the final stretch of the regular season and then into the playoffs, and they need Duran there pitching and shutting down offenses and securing wins, securing victories for the Phillies moving forward. So great news there. X-rays negative. Hopefully that remains the same and he doesn't have to miss any time or much time at all. Hopefully he's feeling well and can get right back out on the field the next time the Phillies need him in a late inning, high leverage, close save opportunity situation. Now shifting a little towards offense here after talking about pitching. Alec Bowe has been out with the Phillies with a fractured rib. He has been on the injured list for a little bit now, hasn't played with the Phillies since July 18th. So right after the All-Star break, he immediately left. Discomfort there with the ribs going back to before the All-Star break. He has played now in 5 rehab games in AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. Since August 10th, that was his first rehab game for the Iron Pigs. His last one was yesterday now on the 15th. So he was hitless through his first 8 bats in his first 2 rehab games with the Iron Pigs. But then his next 2 games, he was 3 for 9 with a triple, a home run, 2 RBIs, and a walk. Yesterday, for the Iron Pigs, he was 0 for 4. So, that happens. You're not going to get hits every single game. That 2-game stretch there where he was 3 for 9 with the triple, home run, 2 RBIs, and the walk, that was good stuff. That was good to see out of Alec Bowe coming back from his injury. And he only has 2 strikeouts and 21 at-bats, so that's also good to see. He obviously started the season very cold, very slow for the Phillies before his injury and all. And then he had a very, very hot month of May, month of June, cooled off a little bit in July before he landed on the IL with that fractured rib. He's likely going to be returning to the Phillies lineup really any day at this point. He's played 5 rehab games now. He's looking good overall. The Phillies need Alec Bowe back. They need the Alec Bowe that they had in May and June where he was hot, one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. He's capable of doing that. And their lineup is so much better when he's in it and hitting well and doing good defensively as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. The Phillies are trying to take a series lead today with Taijuan Walker on the mound against the Nationals. Make that a 2-1 series lead going into Sunday morning's series finale against the Nationals with Aaron Nola returning to the mound for the Phillies. And then they head back home after a long road trip, 10-game road trip. This has been for the Phillies. Again, thank you guys for watching. And as always, go Phils.